All right, here to break down some setups on Recharge Oddball, kind of talk about some general strategies on how to play Oddball and some of the concepts that are universally applied, and then specific things to Recharge. So the first thing to talk about on Recharge in basically any game mode is the power of the cross from top A or bottom A door to top glass / commando. This cross basically splits the map in half. So beyond any other map in Infinite, I think this cross prevents anyone from going through the map unchecked. And what you have happen in a perfect world in Oddball is, let's say we've got our team's the blue team. We have a guy setting top A. We have a guy, again, top A, he's watching across. We have a guy on commando watching across. We have an oddball carrier who can be floating in a couple different places, and then we have another guy who's either in whirlpool or he is bat ledge watching the spawners. He can kind of float around a little bit, and the reason for that is because this cross is so strong. These two players can basically prevent the other team from moving forward on the map in any direction. Like, their options are to either come through glass, they're going to get blasted by this guy, and then their choice is to either back up or continue to go forward, and if they go forward, they're weak, and number 7 kills them for free because they're weak. They can send multiple guys at the same time, trying to overwhelm the crosser. Maybe they send 2 here, 2 here. The crosser's still going to get shots in both of these guys, maybe all 3 of them, and then this guy who's floating now has the ability to come and help number 7. So even though it's a 3-on-2, these two are at an advantage because these guys are weak, and the ball is all the way over here. So if they've got 3 people coming top glass trying to clear out gold, ball carrier can just rotate to C while these guys are stalling. And even if your 2 teammates die, these guys come through A. Well, your ball's now at C. This guy's at C with him. And guess where your spawners are going to spawn? At C with you. So the same thing kind of works in reverse as well. If we, again, move the ball carrier back to A again, have this guy bat ledge, have this guy watching the cross, and this guy watching the cross. If everyone tries to flood a cat, number 7 shooting them in the side, the ball carrier doesn't necessarily have a opportunity to rotate away here since he's only got 1 buffer between him and the fighters, but he can just drop the ball and fight. Number 6 can come in and help fight, and maybe they've got another guy who went bottom mid, he's jumping up into whirlpool, and the other guy, maybe he's trailing behind. Number 7 can also either run through gold, or he can just slide out here and come into whirlpool, and now we've got a full-on team fight. So there's no reason to play the ball in this instance because it's a 4v4. The better team's going to win, and we're going to assume that our team is better. Obviously, that can change. If this guy dies early, then the ball carrier may be able to get out to whirlpool and play it. He may be able to just get up to A ledge and play it, and then have the other 2 remaining teammates try to just make it as difficult as possible for the other team to pick up the ball. So the other thing that this cross adheres to, if we bring everyone back to their starting position, is it controls space on the map. And I think space is the most important concept in Halo. It's probably the most underutilized thing by lower ranked teams, and this is even up into Onyx ranks because people just don't understand. They rely too much on their gun skill, and even if they are doing setups, their setups are generally more condensed. So I see things like, hey, let's all set up in A or in C or different places. And the problem in gold, the problem with just having everyone condensed is when your setup is like this, you really only control the space within your setup. And then obviously with this crosser, if he's watching, then he controls a little bit of space here to prevent the enemy from coming through. But the other team now has an opportunity to spawn, anywhere in this area, anywhere in this area. They can even spawn in here. And you're blind. You have no idea where they're coming from. So you're giving them more of the space to spawn. You're making the game harder on yourself because the other team, hey, I just spawned here, I spawned here, and then these two guys spawn here. And now the best way to break a setup is to come in from multiple angles. So they've got a guy coming here, which you can't even really see. Maybe this guy gets some shots in him, but guess what? He's dealing with number 4 because he's open to shoot that guy. And then these two guys are flooding in through here while your two teammates are distracted shooting this way. So maybe number 6 can try to fight them, but now he's taking on 2 people. Maybe the ball carrier has to drop the ball. And you just lose control of the map because your team is trying to do too many things at once. Number 5 is fighting his own thing. Number 7 is fighting his own thing. Number 6 is fighting 2 people. And number 8 is either trying to decide to hold the ball or figure out who to watch over. And the other problem is it's just a mystery as to who or where the other team is coming from because they just have way too much options on the map and they can spread out and come in from as many angles as possible. Now, what holding space does beyond just setting up crosses and blocking areas, holding space also prevents the other team from spawning in areas that you don't want them to spawn. So very simplified view here, but if we think of Recharge in 4 quadrants, and space is probably more accurately described as like top A is a space, whirlpool is a space, white or control is a space, back silo / C is a space, long haul is a space, gold glass is a space, batteries is a space, and bottom mid is a space. But Recharge, because this cross is so strong, can really be thought of as just 4 quadrants. So I can even illustrate that just by drawing down the middle of the map. If we break this into 4 quadrants, you now have a player in 3 of the 4 quadrants. And what that means is this space here, you can't expect the enemy to spawn in. This space here, the enemy's not going to spawn in. They're not going to spawn here, and they're not going to spawn here. So the only place that you're giving the enemy to spawn is this 1 quadrant. So at any point in time, everyone knows where to look. They're going to be coming from some direction leading out of this space. So they're going to either be coming through long haul, they're going to be coming up glass, or they're going to try to go bottom mid, or they're going to come through control. There's less options for them to come through because the space that you're giving them is in one confined corner of the map. We're basically just looking at taking up again, L shape that eats up 75% of the map. Your ball carrier is also protected in either direction. There's a person in front of them, so they have a buffer between themselves and any enemy, so no enemy can come to the ball carrier unchecked. Someone will see the enemy before they get to the ball carrier, which means you can react quicker without having to have the ball carrier get surprised and then losing the ball unexpectedly. Now, some of the gotchas with this setup, the guy top gold, the guy top A, or again bottom A in this corner, cannot start looking down his own lane. So Recharge is a little different and I'll talk about lanes in a different video. But Recharge is a little bit different because it's not a traditional 3-lane map because the center of the map is so open, but you can picture the lanes as being the general areas that people travel through. So like this is a lane, this is a lane, and then the middle lane again is just wide open. It's all of this open area. Because the middle lane is so wide open, that means this cross can cover the open area, but can also cover the side lanes as well. So number 5 can cover the red lane while also looking at the middle. Number 7 also can look at the middle while covering the blue lane. And what that does is it leaves number 6 open to float. So he's kind of a listener. He can be in Whirlpool, he can be bottom A, he can be in gold, and his job is to listen to number 5's callouts and number 7's callouts. So number 7 is shooting ACAT and shooting Mangler. Hey, there's 3 coming that way. Number 6 needs to fly in here and help. Number 5, similar. Hey, there's 2 coming gold. There's 1 coming bottom gold stairs. Number 6 is here to help. And then off spawn, if he's setting bat ledge or setting in Whirlpool, he can shoot these guys spawning back in long haul or at sea before they even get up the map. So they're already damaged, and now they have to make a decision. They come into white. Again, he can run in here and rotate. This guy is a floater. He's very pivotal, and he just has to listen to what his teammates are doing. These 2 people, on the other hand, number 5 and number 7, cannot move from their spot. Their entire job is to watch this cross. They want to be positioned in a spot where the other team cannot see them before their crosser sees them. So for example, if number 7 comes out and just stands top glass, the problem with that is number 2 can get here before number 5 can see him. And so number 2 can shoot this guy in the back, and then his choice is to either back up or turn and fight a one-on-one. And while he's fighting a one-on-one here, this is a 50-50 battle because no teammate can help him. And he's also not watching the cross, which means these people can now move through for free. So their entire other team can move through this way for free. So in a higher level game, they might send someone up here or here just to distract this person long enough for people to flood through the crosses. So this person has to be very disciplined and only watch his cross, and the only time he stops watching his cross is specifically when the other team full commits to moving through. So they get shot 3 times and they full commit to running through, and then he just punches them or shoots them 1 time and they're dead. While he's doing that, then this person obviously has to watch themselves, or number 6, the floater, has to decide where he picks up the slack. So he either gets in a position where he can watch top gold / stairs, or he just comes over here and helps number 7, or he gets in a position where he can pick up the cross that number 7 is dealing with. And the same thing happens here. If number 5, if these guys flood in and 5 and 8 have to deal with him, then number 6 has to realize that and start watching the cross for number 7. Number 7's still watching this cross. So crosses in Oddball are everything. You can almost think of this as like a tower defense game where your ball carrier is the tower and you've got all of these enemies coming down the line trying to get to the ball carrier. So you want to get them as far away from the ball carrier as possible off of spawn, so it takes them longer time to get to the ball carrier, but then also you want to make their path to the ball carrier as difficult as possible. So they're just getting blasted in any direction that they go, and they don't have choices. So again, a condensed setup, everyone is stuck in together. You're controlling a very small portion of the map. The other team just is free to go in any direction that they want, and they can come in multiple angles. And once your team gets shot from multiple angles, you're in a really bad spot because it's relying on people to win one-on-ones. So if this guy comes here, number 5 has to fight him one-on-one. If this guy comes here, number 6 has to fight him one-on-one. Same thing here. If this guy's setting triangle or up in heaven, if number 4 comes in, now everyone's fighting a one-on-one and your team is not working together. Whereas if we're holding crosses appropriately and adhering to them and not getting sucked into fighting individual battles down our own lane, where someone's traveling down a lane and you're trying to stare directly down that lane and fight them, we're working together, and we're also putting ourselves in a position where no enemy can get through in any direction for free. This same kind of concept applies to basically every map, but the idea here is pretty simple. You've got two guys controlling the middle space of the map. Their job is to never take a direct fight unless the person gets into their immediate space. Number 6 is a listener, so his entire job is to figure out what is happening at any point in time, either by teammates' communications or just by looking at what's going on in the map, and fill in space. So he's either going to help here, stay here and shoot spawners, just depending on where the enemy is located. His job is to fill in gaps in the formation and to prevent the other team from overwhelming any of the crossers. And then number 8's job, obviously, is to hold the ball, but he can also position himself to where he can do a little bit of damage or potentially bait the other team. So say they've got guys that are thinking about coming Mangler. If your ball carrier is standing here, he can drop the ball and shoot this guy a couple times, which is technically a direct fight. However, this guy's never intending on dying to that guy. As soon as he gets shot once back, he puts in a little bit of damage to him, and then he gets behind this pillar and he jumps up top, or he jumps up top this way. So now this guy's like, hey, I just got damage on the ball carrier. I can run through here. And guess what? He's getting shot in the back by a crosser. He gets in, and now your entire team has just wiped him out. Same thing. You could position your ball carrier in the position of this cross. So number 5 could set bottom A door in this little corner. There's a bench right here next to the plasma grenades, so he can constantly reload the plasmas and throw them bottom control or toss them across the map. You can't be seen from this bench either, so people coming bottom control can't see you directly if you're hugged to this corner, but you can still watch the cross. And then number 8 can set up top A and also watch the cross, and so now he can add some additional damage. Just every time someone tries to cross, he can drop the ball and start shooting at them. And then obviously if anyone comes top A and they're weak, he can just punch them with the ball and they'll die. So yep, that's the biggest thing I think in all of Halo, but specifically for Recharge, if you can form an L, you're controlling 75% of the map. And when you do that, you limit the options of the other team and you make the game just extremely easy for yourselves. You're never putting yourselves in a position where you have to take one-on-ones, which, again, just makes the game simpler. So there's some other things. Obviously, you're not always going to get into an ideal setup, but you can apply these same concepts to other portions of the map. So say we've got a ball carrier back C, so now number 6 is the ball carrier, and he's kind of just setting back silo, so watching for anyone to come long haul. He can drop the ball and shoot them a couple times, or he can play it off the map. You need to figure out what portion of the map you want to give up to the other team. So in this case, it's generally the best idea to try to force them to spawn as far away from the ball carrier as possible. So I think spawning them in gold or potentially spawning them in A is ideal. If you have someone top control, now he controls this portion of the map, so no one can come through glass unchecked. And number 7 in this case can actually set back glass, and he can have a sightline to A and also mid bridge, while number 8 actually needs to be either setting C plat, kind of hugging this and watching people coming out of Whirlpool, or he can be big door watching people again from Whirlpool. Or yeah, I think this area would probably be more effective. He could also come into control and again try to prevent people from getting in here. He could also be kind of sneaky, so if this guy tries to flood bottom and he's getting shot, now he can shoot this guy in the back. But probably a more effective spot would be here, so that he can also be involved in crosses. Again, at this point he's more of a listener, so he's listening to teammates and reacting. So hey, there's people coming white, he can go this way. Hey, there's people coming in glass, he can kind of move around in this direction. And this L isn't perfect, but it's still the same kind of concept. You have a guy in this quadrant of the map, obviously with your C guy here, and number 8 in this kind of area. You've got a guy in this quadrant of the map, and then control's a little far out, but it is technically still part of what I would consider this quadrant. So it doesn't necessarily mean they won't spawn A, but they can't come through here for free because your crosser is going to shoot them, and then also number 5 can clean them up as they come in here, or number 8 can float around and clean them up as well. Again, I think the best setup possible is A for recharge, but the ball carrier can float around. He can be in gold. You can also get back C. The key thing is take up as much of the map as you can when you can effectively watch for your teammates. And you do need to leave some space open for the other team. So if we get too spread out, and we've got a guy in A, and we've got a guy at C, and we've got a guy at gold, the other team's going to split spawn, or they're going to random spawn, and you have no idea where they can be. And you're also in just positions where you can't necessarily help each other as much as you would like. So I generally try to play for only up to 75% of the map and never try to go over that, because you want to give them a pocket to where you know that they're going to spawn. All right, that's it for this. I think I've got another VOD review of a Recharge Oddball game coming up soon, so thank you.